engage with it like that. As for where Wicklow came from, we're a space game. We should have aliens, and ones that actually are sentient and talk to you, even if it is broken English.
I don't know why we only have Wicklow,
when we was thinking about it, we was like, we want some sort of like figure that's collecting oddities, and it is very mysterious. And the original plan was that you wasn't going to find out that it was a Banu. We was going to have a broken sort of camera, and it was going to take you time until you discovered who they was. But then we was like, we're hiding one of the coolest things, so we was like, let's get him in there, let's put some comms in there eventually, and have him speaking to you, and maybe even talking pure in Banu, so the people who understand Banu can understand it, and the people who don't can have some subtitles to read, because
okay, that's sick as fuck, but y'all didn't do that shit.
I barely understand my language.
I'm going to have a migraine by the end of this with everybody using the internal names for things.
Wait, what did I say?
You said Goblin Gathering like 4 times.
Oh, right. Well, that's because...
It's all right. No. In my new role, I know.
They're gonna fucking fire you.
Let's just be real.
Should we give the Stormbreaker name?
We've already done it. We've given like the last 4 names. You just haven't been paying attention.
I don't think I said Apex Ageddon.
No. That's somebody else. Somebody else said Orbigeddon, okay. Whatever. It's just you. What was I going to ask?
I thought.
What?
I thought you said you weren't going to do another live one, Jared, with Elliot, because of all the. I thought we.
No, that was Lath. That was Lath. Just. Never mind. Love you, Lath. But never again. Kidding. So what are the limitations of this system? So we know it's not precisely how we'd wanted it, and there are some peculiarities with elevators and the Wicklow favors and the RNG, which is getting addressed in 4.2.1. Walk me through what's happening now and how we're making Wicklow better in the future.
I'll break that down into 3 little bits, because you mentioned a bunch. Freight elevators obviously have their issues. We're not blind to it. We know about it. It is an incredibly complex system. Because it touches so much kinds of things. It's got the whole thing that Jacob was on about before with the volumes and the fitting. You can have so much stuff on that, and they're all different dimensions. Like, it's a lot of stuff to figure out. So they're actively working on it every single patch to try and make it as good.
Dude, one of their mics is horrible.
But we're working on stuff as well for the Wicklow experience to make it better. So one of the big things that I know is going to help a hell of a lot is what we call like nested item turn-ins. So essentially, if you had a 1SU box and you put
I am glad that they are addressing the whole RNG. I thought the whole RNG thing was like stupid as fuck. Now, given I think it was just due to tech limitations, they did talk about
3 pearls. I should then just be able to
like
put
Tier
that
0
box
stuff having to be that way because they just didn't have anything else
like that. Now, we don't currently have that. There's a
bug,
it's cool
like
to
it should
work, but there's a bug that's stopping it from being worked, and it's something we're actively looking to fix, and that'll improve the experience, because instead of like I say, we're not blind to it. I have to stand on that freight elevator as well and manually drop each item for a stack of 50. The problem is that we want to fix the bug, and we don't just want to make the recipes easier to account for that problem, because then it completely devalues the reward at the end. So
that's fair.
We're working on that part of the experience. And another thing is what we call multi-location drop-off. This is essentially, instead of having to go to a certain Wicklow Emporium to do the mission when it's generated, we're going to be having it so that you can accept it and turn it in at any Wicklow location. So say I need to get like 10 pearls, 10 irradiated apex pearls, and I need to get 4 quasi-grazer eggs, and I need to turn them in, and station thing is closer to the pyro jump point, so I want to turn the pearls in there, and then the quasis spawn over here, and that's close to this station, so I want to turn it there. We're going to enable it eventually so you can do that. And what will happen is, if you've deposited the pearls here and then you finish the eggs off in this other location, it doesn't matter where you put it. Wherever you complete the recipe is where you'll be given the award, but you can drop them off at any location. This way you can choose exactly where you want to go and finish the mission. And when we get that tech, it won't just obviously come to Wick, it will come to a bunch of our missions where we notice this is kind of like a pain point of right, well, I have to go all the way over here now, and I don't want to. But that should help. That'll be the freight stuff. Favors are something we want to keep, because they're
the freight stuff has been tilting
in lore. They're a representation of the Banu because they don't write stuff down. They don't really have that history thing. If you do work for me, and I'm a Banu, I won't remember that. So a favor is like a token that says, yeah, if I give you this, it means that I've done substantial amount of work for you. And then me as a Banu, I'll go, okay, right, well, I can't remember it, but because you have my favor cube, I will honor the deal, honor the agreement. But favors also act as a purpose, which is stopping your items being deleted. We have some technical limitations, obviously, in the game where certain amounts of items in one zone can cause lag, frame drop, physics to freak out, all of these kinds of things. And what we have is this density cleanup system that eventually, when it violates a rule set, it starts cleaning them up. But because obviously we need the worth of the items, but we have the limitation of too many items in one space causes problems. Favors are also used as a conversion method. So when we ask for you to trade in 50 Karanite for one favor, like I say, it's a conversion. Instead of asking you to put 500 Karanite down and 450 of them be deleted, and you're like, oh, my hard work, no. If you don't get a crash or whatever else, that's why the favors exist, and they're going to continue existing because they're a really interesting piece of the lore. But the idea is that we'd be able to have more items in bulk when we can do that sort of box thing. So favors will stay, but they'll kind of morph a little bit for how we use them.
Gotcha.
And then RNG.
Little Jurassic Park ad. Okay.
RNG.
Need to watch that.
This is something obviously we've looked at for 4.2.1, and we've put in some fixes that people have been playing. RNG and grinding is very typical for MMO. And it's
I will say I've been very impressed.
Well. We want you to put effort because effort means the valuation of the things you get as a reward goes up.
I mean, we're able to do all the steps. We're able to get all the keys.
But the point where
the NPCs
we've changed
work,
it was that the RNG was done a lot more on the reward side. So instead of going, I want this item, and this is all the stuff I need to get for it, we would go,
at all, it is for sure.
Here's a list of a bunch of items you could possibly get if you give this stuff.
For sure.
Which, randomizing the reward isn't as fun because then you've got all this work done. You go for the excitement of getting the reward, and then it's like, hey, you got this, and you're like, yeah, that's not what I wanted.
Yeah, fuck the random shit. I don't know why they were.
So we've kind of changed where that is. So what we want to do is have you choose the reward you want. And then on the getting of the items is where we have the RNG, and it's something that Torsten Lehman on Systems Design and the economy team,
RNG is meant for other things like loot boxes,
defining what that is, and we've basically split it into
not mission rewards.
Distinct categories. You have your core content items. These are items that you are guaranteed to kind of get while playing a piece of content. So an example of core content items would be Karanite, right? You get Karanite from doing the Align and Mine flow. Codename Armageddon. Then you have your content items. These are items that are not core to the experience, but you can find and you can get. So an example of these would be the Ace Interceptor helmets. And then the ones that help us with the RNG in a big way are the rare content items. These are things that you will find less likely to find. They still can be there, but they increase the time and help to add that sort of grind aspect to an MMO. So these are some new things or things that already exist that we're kind of like injecting. So for example, in 4.2.1, when you play and you do I was going to say Armageddon, Align and Mine, you will find pure Karanite now in the cave. It's a new type of resource, but you're going to find a hell of a lot less of them, and you're going to notice that some of the recipes now require that. If you're doing the Stormbreaker, there's the grade AAA Radiate Pearl. That's going to be a rare content item. We've got a bunch of war badges for ship battles that you can find on the Ace pilots, but they have a chance to spawn. You can find them in Luke's loot boxes, but they have a rare chance to spawn. And this is kind of like how we're looking to keep a little bit of the RNG and keep a little bit of the grind, but you decide up front what is your reward you want. So you don't have to end up with like 50
whoever that was. I think it was Jared
from Wicklow, or just because you wanted a completely different ship. Yeah.
Oh.
Listen, it was a long question. What do you want me to do?
No, it was great answer, Elliot.
You're playing with dolls. What are you doing?
I want to read 2 comments from the chat. First was from Saint Deacon. This was caught by the auto mod, so I want to make sure this gets out there. 9 unicorn horns, my virginity, my eldest child, and 900 hairs from a tick's butt.
What do you think, Nick? I'm good with that. You want to put that as a recipe?
How does he have his virginity?
I think that's reasonable. I'm not sure which one of those is. I'm not sure which one is the rare content on that one. Is it the butt ticks? I'm not sure.
Definitely not the virginity for sure.
No, he's definitely still got that one. But and then another comment from Blues Minx. I love Elliot Maltby. I could listen to him for hours. Please continue talking about what you're talking about, Elliot Maltby, and don't change the topic at all. He's being very gracious and good in the chat. All right, so our last pillar here, Declan, you've been waiting patiently and hanging out. It's your time, baby. It's your time. Stuff you make and storing it. Now, obviously, we're not going to go too far into crafting as we get closer to the actual implementation of crafting the PU. There'll be ISCs and there'll be SCLs and stuff like that. But because it is yet another way that people know we're going to get some stuff, I do want to touch on it here.
Does that mean that that's soon?
How does all these other avenues of item acquisition affect what you're doing on crafting?
It's big. With crafting, God knows how many things we're going to inject as rewards. There's thousands of blueprints, hundreds of materials. So we really need all of this available to us so we can kind of dish it out into all various parts of the game. Some places where it's more difficult, some places where it's easier, unique resources, different systems. So
dude, I enjoy
the whole gathering aspect of crafting is the foundation layer. So it's kind of like the biggest, and then the pyramid for refining, and then crafting at the very top. So it's big.
Sorry.
Yeah, so all of the pieces that we've talked about so far, all of the work that Luke, Nick, Andre, Elliot is doing, all of that content is things that we'll be able to add blueprints to, add crafting materials to, and in loot boxes, potentially even you might find some pre-crafted loot, but we'll see about that.
I know there's some conversation about separating gear and cosmetics. Deck, what can you tell us?
Yes. So I suppose most people know right now the way we have to do cosmetics and gear at the moment, like your armors and your guns, is a bit annoying because it's like bound to the item rather than being like a ship paint where you can swap it around. So we are looking to separate out the cosmetics from the gear, and you take it to a crafting terminal, and be like, I want my gun to be whatever skin I have available for it. And it won't be a physicalized item either. The paint won't be physicalized. Ships eventually transitioning to not be physicalized either, the paint aspect of them. So that'll be a nice improvement.
Yeah, and something we'll hear more about, obviously, when we get closer to the stuff. Because crafting is, still a ways in the future and whatnot. All of this stuff, and this is really the reason I've invited you here, in case I don't know if you know this or not. All this stuff, all this way of getting stuff, all this way of acquiring stuff. I got to ask you about the inventory system.
Yeah.
Help,
Okay.
Declan.
Well,
help.
There is
like stuff doesn't stack right. Stuff. Help. It's. I got to
help, please.
Just help. What can you tell us?
We can help.
Fix it.
Well, I'm personally not fixing it. However, the talented folks in Montreal are working on a rework at the moment.
Good.
So I will share some concept UI what being worked on, and we can talk through it. Hang on. I don't use Zoom much, so here we go. So we're looking at some concept UI here. Obviously, you can see there's a visual facelift, but kind of the most interesting aspect to me isn't super obvious straight away, and that is that you will be able to access other inventories that are nearby to you within proximity. So if we start drawing, we imagine we've got our storage box over here, and then we kill the guy. Yeah, thank you. We kill the guy.
Oh, yo.
Here he is. He's on the floor. So he would be accessible as one of the tabs up here. And then the inventory box.
It looks like a fucking badminton
on the other side
or whatever the fuck it is.
So when you press I to access the inventory, you can then access the dead bodies inventory, access your storage box. You can start moving stuff around without having to directly go up to the body.
What, brother?
So
look at the
so you kind of get in there and start looting.
Right, Jurassic Park, I get it. Oh, I'll watch you. Durability, integrity. It says bricks.
If we focus in on one of the panels,
it says bricks.
You see it's called personal all. That's just kind of the default personal would be on the left, and it's all because it's showing everything that is stored upon your person at that moment. If you wanted to see what is in your backpack in particular, you have these side tabs, and then we have a search function which has been added in. If you were to click this, a search box will come out over here, and you can search the item that you want.
Of course, Montreal be banging out here, bro.
Filters.
Montreal be
these filters kind of similar to Freight Elevator, where you have the
they bought Montreal, of course.
The subcategories here.
They had to buy these guys. These guys are talented.
Multi-purpose. What I mean by that is, at the moment,
I'm loving this tier 3. You can tell like tier 1, tier 2, tier 3.
Twice, it would
tier 5, purple. I'm assuming that's like epic.
Freight Elevators full of
tier
decorations
3,
they don't
red.
really care about at the time,
rare.
so they can just hide all the decorations if they want to. Clear filters, sorting options. When crafting comes in, this will be big.
That's interesting because you have T4 uncommon stuff.
That kind of stuff. And then tucked away in the corner is stack all. So that's a nice quality of life addition as well.
just a nice little addition. Just a nice little addition.
Yeah. There he is.
Anything about
oh, that was juicy.
Maybe getting to name our boxes, label our boxes?
Yes, so this is your commodity box, and then this would be like a backpack, and one of the options will be to right-click and just rename them. So you could say like, oh, this is my box with high quality Jana lighting, whatever.
You've given Boring Gamer, Salty Mike, and Space Tomato so much content for the next week.
Bro, we're not done. We've got tooltips and everything.
Oh my god, here he goes.
So, as you can see, looking at the inventory, everything's a square now. Instead of it being a mix of squares and long rectangles, that'll also be applied to the freight elevator, so the ship guns won't take up half the screen. You get a lot more information available to you. We have the equipment panel, where I know I just said they weren't rectangles. These ones are, but regular weapons aren't. So I'm technically true, but also lying. You can equip your attachments super easy here. The 1, 2, 3 is basically like the slot they're in, and then again, if you were to look at your ammunition, you can see which weapon it's viable with. If we go over to the character, we have all the slots. The slots would be shown by default here, and they're contextual. So if you want to quickly see all the backpacks you have available to you, if you click the backpack slot, then the various inventories would filter to only show the backpacks.
Registered to John Doe. E2.
Yep, we have the new tooltips, which are very nice. Rather than being text, we have bars. You've got a bit of info here. When we have crafting, then the crafting, the person who made it would replace the manufacturer. So it was crafted by whoever it was crafted by. We have taken into consideration wear and tear with integrity and durability. And I suppose you know there's more than 3 stats on a weapon. So if you were to right click and details, you get the full view with the scroll bar, the attachments, description which can be expanded, and then if you hover onto an item of the same type, you'll see the comparison stats as well.
Yeah, I love that.
You can make the icons bigger or smaller. If you are if you've got bad eyes, you can make them a bit bigger. Elliot, don't make a joke about it. The thumbnails as well, obviously there's a problem where sometimes they don't load, or sometimes they appear as holograms. That's been worked on as well. We'll get that fixed. I think that's it. It's probably not everything. There's a lot of stuff that's going on.
No, yeah, it's not everything. We haven't talked about the imprinting and the stuff with item recovery v2 and stuff like that. But again, we just wanted to share a bit about at least the concept for the upcoming inventory revamp for folks in the chats that are saying 2026, 2027. Possibly. I'm not gonna BS you here. It's not in active development right now. It's just in the concept phase and being spec'd out, and the work is being figured out, and then it will be scheduled and stuff like this. So I can't speak. None of us can speak about when it will be developed or be delivered rather. But that is the direction we want to go in this moment. And I thought it was super cool, and I thought it was super exciting. And at the end of a conversation about
like yesterday,
all the things you can get in the verse and how you get them, it just made sense to me to cap it off with a look at least how the future of managing that stuff will potentially look. So yeah, with that, folks, we made it. We're at the end. Andre, Nick, Declan, Elliot, Luke, and Jacob. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Jared.
Thank you. Thank you for hanging out. And shout out to Connor, who wanted to be here, but because we changed the date on him, he couldn't be here.
The whole inventory change and all
he wanted
the
to be here, but
tips and
he's
stuff
there. Thank you so much.
Really exciting.
Also, I got
especially
a
with
shout out. So there's a
that's
thing
awesome.
before I let the viewers go. I got to bring it up here because I didn't look at it ahead of time. There is a.
All right. Patty Lando,
what chat was
we're good.